Well, hello again. Um, Here we are with another yes or no question. This is a good one. Is the Earth flat? Now, I know it sounds like a bit of a stretch to regard this as a serious question, but that betrays your and my prejudice and bias if we react in that way. Let's listen to the arguments. The we're in an age now where an awful lot of let's say unconventional ideas and theories are floating around, much stimulated by the social media. I mean, they've always been around. There have always been conspiracy theories, but now they fly thick and fast into every corner of the world because of the internet, especially YouTube, but also other aspects of the social media. And before we get into the yes or no arguments, by way of background, the flat earthers have devised a number of very elaborate structures to explain the way the Earth goes. They talk about what actually lies at the outer edge of the disk that is the Earth. Different versions of that one, including a huge ice wall guarded by NASA. There are also explanations for the motion of the sun and the moon, and so forth. So anyway, there's a lot of kind of unconventional explanation for the observations that we ourselves make about the Earth. Okay, well, what are some of the yes arguments? So those who would suggest that the Earth is flat. Well, first of all, they point to some of the great philosophers of the past. Augustine of Hippo, one of the great theologians of the church, and one who provided us with a lot of philosophical and theological insight at a very early stage. A great intellect and a revered medieval mind, and he thought the Earth was flat. Now, how could anybody that smart be wrong, really? He was followed, of course, many centuries later by the great French philosopher René Descartes. Now, Descartes was not necessarily a flat earther, but he was also a man who demanded that we be skeptical. He developed a whole theory of skepticism, which suggests that you should always question everything you're told. This was the essence of the Enlightenment. Perhaps the early authoritarian regimes of monarchy and the church, who were telling us what to think and who in many cases were wrong about what they were telling us, kind of teed this whole thing up, made people skeptical. And as a consequence of that, we have a right to be skeptical. We have been misled in the past, and so the notion that the Earth is round is highly likely to be one more misleading set of misinformation that we've been fed. Another argument from the flat earthers is that the United Nations has used the flat Earth map as the symbol of the United Nations itself. Well, what better endorsement could there be than an august organization such as the United Nations endorsing the flat Earth truth? Another reason for believing in the flat Earth is just common sense. When you walk somewhere, when you walk down the street, when you even go for a long walk in the countryside, of course you go up and down hills, but you're basically walking on a flat surface. You're not walking on a round surface. You're not walking on a ball. You're walking on a flat plane. So your own observation, which experience tells you is something you probably ought to pay a lot of attention to, tells you that the Earth is flat. And of course, some of the explanations that are offered by the round earthers You know, like the pictures of the Earth from outer space and so forth. They're just photoshopped fakery. It's fake news in a grand order. Much of it orchestrated by NASA, which is in itself an organization which should just stick to doing things like monitoring the wall at the edge. So there's a lot of explanations for the flat earthers, much of it based on skepticism and the realization that we have to question everything because so many people are misleading us. Well, so what about the no answers, the people who say no, the earth isn't flat, it's round? Well, first of all, I think people who believe that also believe that the flat earthers are basically primitives. I guess it goes back to the notion of someone who's never left his village and has never wandered far enough to know much at all about the rest of the earth other than what he sees in his own community. And in many ways, the flat earthers are like that, at least conceptually. They haven't traveled in their minds into the world of science and so forth. Secondly, of course, the notion of a flat earth is belied by round-the-world airplane flights. You can buy a round-the-world airplane ticket from most consortia of airlines. Years ago, Pan American Airways had two round-the-world flights, Pan Am 1 and Pan Am 2, that went in different directions around the world. That's a fact. I suppose one could deny it, but that's what they did. Number three, there is a good practical astronomical demonstration of the world being round when you look at the shadow of the Earth on the moon during a lunar eclipse. It's curved, not straight. And of course, we have the pictures from Apollo of the Earth, those wonderful pictures of the blue sphere with the cloud cover on it. We know that the flat earthers say that's photoshopped, but I think it can be demonstrated that the many pictures of that sort that were taken are not photoshopped. Well, what's my take on all of this? Well, first of all, I've already reviewed the notion that the belief in conspiracy is widespread, but has been growing ever wider just because of the internet and the facility with which people can spread ideas and receive them. The appetite for alternative explanations and for counter-establishment views of things is very widespread, growing all the time. Some say the belief in a flat Earth has very substantial percentages of populations of most countries agreeing to it, or at least confirming that they don't necessarily believe that the world is round, which I guess is pretty much the same thing. So there is this appetite for anti-establishment views. That's perhaps why Donald Trump got elected. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me to hear that Donald Trump was a flat earther, that he came up with the idea that due to his very superior, stable intelligence, he had figured out that the flat earthers were right all along, and that he was implementing an executive order to make sure that it was taught in schools. Just joking a bit, but that's where we are on it. I think the flat earth idea is a bit of fun, but it's demonstrably nonsense. Well, there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't imagine I'll have too many disagreement with what I've said, except perhaps some flat earthers themselves. I hope they watch the video. Anyway, give it a like, give me a subscribe, a notification, and I'll see you with the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.